Thank you, George. Thank you very much for this brief introduction, which has raised three major issues in the postal markets. One being the draft regulation, the draft EU regulation on cross-border parcels, which is very much a hot topic of debate in the field. The other being universal service and the sustainability, the prerequisites for the sustainability of universal service. And the third being, of course, the general and important issue of competition, whether through prices or other means. These are issues to which we shall, of course, return after everyone has had his say. Madame Benhamou, bienvenue.
Si.
Vous avez la parole.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here in Athens, and thanks to ΕΕΤΤ for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be in Athens and to have the opportunity to share opinions and data with other regulators and operators. So, and I'm very also, I must confess, I'm very happy to hear the presentation of Pascal Clivaz and the position of France in the global ranking on postal services. Nevertheless, we share the same problems and the same questions in all over Europe concerning postal services. So I will say a few words in order to present the postal regulation in France. ARCEP has started to regulate the postal sector in 2005 in the context of a monopoly on the mail competition. And in spite of the fact the French market was fully liberalized in 2011, there is still very limited competition, very limited. We have at this time 40 operators authorized by ARCEP, and 3 of them are cross-border operators, and the others, except 2 of them, are very limited. They have an activity limited to a small territory in France. So the regulation has to take into account that we are still in a quasi-monopolistic situation, and we aim to ensure that the universal service provided by La Poste is in line with the needs of postal users. So ARCEP has ensured that quality of service meets these needs by different tools. First of all, we encourage La Poste to publish annually a quality of service scorecard that allow postal users to be aware of the quality of the services that are provided. Second, we have undertaken a series of audits on quality measurement devices to ensure that the tools we use are accurate. First point, we ask La Poste to improve services when necessary. In particular, La Poste has modernized the treatment of registered letters that resulted in quicker transit time. And we also asked La Poste to change the nature of services not in line with the principles of universal service. And in particular, we obtained from La Poste a major change in its mail products, now adapt to the delivery of very small items, and for example, small books, etc. So, in terms of price regulation, ARCEP has ensured that the tariffs remain affordable. And I will come back to this point, which is very important. So what is the challenge at this time? The regulation of the postal sector is evolving, and it is subject to increasing competition as the development of electronic communications has progressively led to a decline in mail volumes. In France, the decline is about 5.5% a year. So it leads to a sharp decline and a decline, of course, in revenues. So what did we do? In terms of tariff regulation, ARCEP took into consideration the economic difficulties encountered by La Poste, as it is, and we defined a price cap for 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, and the price cap is inflation plus 3.5%. So it's really high. And it has allowed La Poste to compensate, in terms of revenues, to compensate for the decline in the mail volumes. And in terms of quality, the recent years have shown that the transit time for several products were longer than before. And La Poste reorganized the mail, and with the reduction in the number of sorting centers, and that means a longer transport distance between the facilities and the final point, and it prevents the different sorting centers to assist each other in the event of a problem. So it raised productivity, but it meant a decline in the quality of service. La Poste tried to change its business model. It responds to the decline of volumes by this effort of productivity, but also by offering new services. And this is very important. These services that are provided by mailmen. For instance, the service which is called Veiller sur mes parents, it means look after my parents, consists in regular visits by mailmen to elder people in order to see if they need something, if they are still alive, and if we can do something for them. And it's quite important, and it has some success. And it creates, La Poste has decided also to create new applications in order to be in line with digital services. And there are now many applications from La Poste which are quite interesting. And it transforms also some public offices in what we call maisons de service public, that provide different services, for example, for social security, to inform the public on new public services, etc. And I would say, in conclusion, that ARCEP has set itself the ambition of being a trusted third party for La Poste, and more generally for speaking for the whole postal sector. And this role is based on the expertise acquired, notably on La Poste economy, but not only on La Poste economy, and on the fact that La Poste aims in the future to diversify its services and to probably reduce its universal service obligations. And one of the main discussions we have with La Poste concerns, of course, the question of cross-border services, but we'll go back to this question in the discussion. But also another important question concerns the transport and distribution of press and magazines in France. Thank you.
Thank you.